Fire types are easily some of the coolest Pokemon out there. There's just a tiny problem. These are all the fire types in Pokemon Shining Pearl. So I had the terrible idea of trying one of the toughest Pokemon challenges out there, beating Pokemon Shining Pearl using only fire types with Hardcore Nuzlocke rules. So buckle up and enjoy watching me struggle through what is probably the hardest challenge I've done yet. Stealing from an old man might not be on my usual to-do list, but when it comes to picking starters in Pokemon Shining Pearl, I make an exception. Feels bad not to pick Twig, the best boy, but obviously we have to choose Chimchar this time. And after turning Starly into a rotisserie chicken, my journey can begin. First stop, the Rock-type gym leader Rourke and Orbor. So Chimchar needs to bulk up, evolve into Monferno, and learn some fighting moves. We're now up against the Rock-type gym leader, and all we have is a Fire Monkey. But as Rourke sent out Geodude, Monferno seemed distracted. Wait, Monferno, what are you doing? Are you playing Raid Shadow Legends? Isn't that just a janky mobile game with no depth? Raid has over 800 champions to collect and customize. Since I play a lot of Pokemon, Raid's turn-based strategy aspect and team building are some of the things I like about it the most. And while Monferno's been busy playing Raid, we boosted our attack with Power Up Punch and take out Geodude in just 2 turns. So Raid actually has strategy, but we don't have time for boring grinds. You need to focus on the battle. With the auto battle mode, we can focus on beating this Nuzlocke and only focus on the fun Raid stuff. Whoa, look out! Gotta watch out for those rock throws. Onyx doesn't go down in one hit, but it's just another chance for Monferno to get swole and take it out on the next turn. Alright, this game's pretty fun after all, but isn't it kinda pay to win? Loads of Raid creators are free to play and still dominate. Rourke now sends out his ace, Cranidos. This little dino has the highest base attack of any unevolved Pokemon. This could get ugly. But first, grab a free legendary champion, Chronicle Adeline, by downloading Raid through my link or scanning this QR code and logging in for 7 days. Available only from April 11th to July 8th. Plus, reach level 25 for a bonus starter pack with an epic boss color Taylor and Rector draft. Monferno needs friends to play with, so find me under the name Twig387 and join my clan, the Twigdom. Look at that sad face. You wouldn't want to let him down. We hit Cranidos with a Mach Punch, and with that, the first badge is secured. Off to a great start, but trust me, things will get so much tougher later on. Oh man, I can't wait. With Rourke behind us, we make our way to Valley Windworks, where Team Galactic is up to no good. So we have to take on Commander Mars and her ugly cat. First off, Mars sends out Zubat, and you know the name of the game. Power Up Punch time! Once Monferno is a buffed up Mega Chad, Mars sends in Perugly, who is dead the second it comes out. And Zubat's also dead. That was easy. And with that, we make it to Eterna City, where we finally get our hands on the Underground Kit, meaning we get access to a ton of new Pokemon, such as a Houndoom. I make sure to catch the good boy and name it the Human Torch. Not exactly an apt name, but maybe now you can guess what the name theme is. And with 2 team members, it's time to challenge the Grass-type leader Gardenia. And it's not really hard to guess how this one went. My fire types absolutely wrecked her team of grass types, though it did break my heart a little killing Turtwig. Last out is Gardenia's Roserade, who could be trouble, but nope, it's dead. Easy second gym badge. But unfortunately, that was the last easy gym battle we're gonna have for a while. After conquering the second gym, we start traveling toward the next one. On the way, we add Invisible Woman the Ponyta to the team. And with a trio of fire types, we make our way to Veilstone City, where we can get one of the best items we'll get in this whole run. The TM for Flamethrower. And now it's time to take on the fighting type gym leader Maylene. And this could be a tough one. It's Mr. Fantastic leading our fiery charge. Since Meditite is pretty weak, this gives us an opening to set up with Sword Stance twice. And now that we're swole AF, a Flame Wheel is enough to KO. Machoke out next, but there is no way he lives a Flame Wheel, so it's only Lucario left. But this thing is dangerous. He's fast and could deal some serious damage to us. Not gonna lie, I've been a little scared of this thing, but luckily it was all for nothing because we have Mach Punch. That was surprisingly easy. Just like that, we've bagged badge number 3. But now, it's time for the biggest challenge yet. Ahead of us is the Water type gym, and we have some preparing to do. Now that we have 3 badges badges, we've unlocked a new encounter in the Grand Underground, Magby. After running around for way too long, I finally run into him and add him to the team. Welcome the Thing to the team. Unfortunately, he's a bit over-leveled right now, so he'll have to chill in the box for now. And so, it's time for Wake, and I spent ages planning this fight. Here we go. Crasher Wake leads with Gyarados and Mr. Fantastic's up first, just to brush off that Intimidate with a tactical U-turn to Human Torch. I've taught Human Torch Sunny Day, which is what my whole strategy for this battle is based on. This means my team members can now survive any water attacks thrown at them, barely taking any damage. One quad-effective Thunderfang is enough to KO Gyarados. Next out is Quagsire, but thanks to Sunny Day, we can charge up a quad-effective Solar Beam in one turn and absolutely destroy Quagsire. So last out is Floatzel, and this thing is the real deal. Even with the sun up, an Aqua Jet takes out half of my health. One Solar Beam has to be enough, or it's over for us. And thankfully, it is. We take out Floatzel and successfully beat the Water-type gym scot-free. That's 4 badges to our name. And with that, the level cap increases and we can now evolve the thing into a Magmar. We then make our way towards Celestic Town when Cynthia comes to ask us for a favor.
I want you to deliver this old charm to my grandma in Celestic Town.
I'm sort of busy, so no. You know, on second thought, yes. So after making it to Celestic Town and doing Cynthia's delivery job for her grandma, Mr. Fantastic finally reaches level 36 and evolves into Infernape. And so I take on the 5th gym leader, Fantina, and her ghost types. She leads Drifblim and I send out Human Torch. Drifblim doesn't really have an answer to Human Torch and just uses Fly, so we get to set up twice with Nasty Plot. And from there, it's sweepin' time. One Shadow Ball takes care of Drifblim. Gengar is out next, but we just take it out too. Last out is Fantina's ace, Miss Magius. But what can a ghost with a silly little hat do to us? One Shadow Ball and the 5th gym badge is ours. I'll be honest, this challenge has been a lot easier than expected so far. Surely I've just overestimated this challenge and it won't be so bad after all? Oh boy. Well, that's a problem for future Twig. I'm not gonna worry about that for now. Right now, I set my sights on Canalave City. And on my way there, thanks to disabling impossible evos, Magmar evolves into Magmortar. And now our fiery foursome's ready to turn Byron Steel to scrap. Obviously, he's a Steel-type user, so I'm not really worried, but anything can happen. He leads with Bronzor, who can be tricky with Confuse Ray and Trick Room, but best not to think too hard. When in doubt, Flamethrower. Next out is Steelix, and it would have been one-hit KO'd, but it hangs on by a thread thanks to Sturdy. It could hit really hard with Earthquake and really put our run in jeopardy thanks to this oversight, but it just goes for Sandstorm instead. So after another Flamethrower, the Steel Snake is sent straight to the junkyard. Bastiodon, Byron's big bad, steps up, and expecting a Stone Edge, I switch to Mr. Fantastic, who eats it up. Bastiodon Sturdy saves it from a one-hit KO, but this isn't too much of a problem this time since Bastiodon still couldn't KO us if he tried. And actually, it ends up just using Iron Defense, so no harm done. One more close combat for good measure, and we've got ourselves the 6th gym badge. Post victory, Professor Rowan calls us in for an emergency meeting.
Ah, excellent timing. Excuse me, that was unbecoming. Now, regarding Team Galactic. Good heavens, my apologies. It seems the enchiladas from lunch are staging a rebellion. Anyway, we must discuss... Oh dear, this is embarrassing. Please ignore that. So, Team Galactic plans to... Oh no, not now. Forgive me!
In an unexpected twist, Professor Rowan has died and is now boxed. The first death of the run, but the journey must go on. We keep on going, and finally, Invisible Woman evolves into a Rapidash, meaning our team is now fully complete. And if you haven't gotten the naming theme by now, what are you doing? Leave a comment or I don't believe you. After dealing with some Team Galactic shenanigans, we set our sights on the 7th gym in Snowpoint City. But with our team's firepower, the cold never bothered us anyway. Time to take on the gym leader with a funny name, all thanks to the internet. Snover is out first, setting up Hail, but Invisible Woman blazes right through her with a quite effective flame charge. Next out is Sneasel, but once again, a flame charge does the trick. Medicham could spell trouble, so I decide to switch into Mr. Fantastic, who manages to avoid a rock slide. On the next turn, a flamethrower doesn't quite finish the job, but since Medicham just goes for bulk up, we can finish her on the next turn. Last out is Abomasnow, but considering even a tiny spark of fire makes this thing spontaneously combust, a flamethrower definitely does the trick. And that's 7 gym badges to our name. But now, we've got some Team Galactic business to take care of. We make it up to Mount Coronet to find Team Galactic in the middle of their schemes. This would be a moment of extreme suspense and the climax of the plot. But it's just so hard to take Cyrus seriously when he looks like an adorable Funko Pop. But despite being cute and squishy looking, these guys want to destroy the world, and we can't allow that, can we? So first, we take on Commanders Mars and Jupiter together with our rival, Fireman Sam. They lead with 2 Bronzors as Fireman Sam and I send out the Thing and a Munchlax. Our rival is useless as always, and so this is pretty much a 2v1. We do manage to take down one of the Bronzors with a single flamethrower, but next out is Skuntank. Skuntank manages to poison us, but in return, the Thing lays waste to Bronzor number 2. So now we're up against Skuntank and Perugly, and Perugly actually has access to Dig, so this could get nasty. Munchlax finally dies, which is fine since he was useless anyway, and Sam sends out a Staraptor, upgrading him from useless to barely helpful. I decide to switch an Invisible Woman to resist a Dig from Perugly as Staraptor takes out Skuntank. Jupiter sends out her Golbat next, who lands a Sludge Bomb that poisons us. Staraptor finally becomes useful as he connects with a close combat that takes out Perugly. We're not able to deal much damage with Invisible Woman, so I end up switching her out for Mr. Fantastic. Now that there's just 2 Golbats left, Mr. Fantastic starts firing away flamethrowers that absolutely annihilate the rest of the Commander's team. So with them out of the way, it's time to face the terrible, the menacing Cyrus. There we go, now that's a scary face. He leads with Honchkrow, but the Thing zaps it with a Thunderbolt, sending it packing in 1 hit. Next out is Gyarados, and Thunderbolt would normally annihilate the water flying type, but Cyrus pulled a sneaky one and put a Weekend Berry on it, so he manages to hang on. A Waterfall from Gyarados deals some big damage to us, but I stand my ground and finish off Gyarados with another Thunderbolt. Next, Cyrus sends out his ace, Weavile, so I decide to send in Mr. Fantastic. Weavile goes for Dig, which takes over half of our health, but luckily we can then outspeed and despite a Choppleberry take out Weavile with a single close combat. We've done so well so far, and Cyrus is now down to his last Pokemon, Crobat. This thing is fast, and even though Mr. Fantastic has a great speed stat too, I don't want to risk it. So I send out Invisible Woman, who absolutely eats an air cutter. There's one problem though. She just deals awful damage. We need to find a way to make her useful, because right now, she just doesn't do much at all. I decide to pivot into Human Torch instead, but Cross Poison deals a ton of damage to us and even poisons us. But we're still in the game here. Using just 2 flamethrowers, we're able to finish the job. And with that, we've defeated the big bad Funko Pop boss of Team Galactic. But that was just the appetizer. Now, we're up against our biggest obstacle yet. A legendary water-type Pokemon. A literal god that could rip us to shreds in a single hit. We're taking on Palkia. I had to be extremely careful, so I did the only sensible thing I could. And, ran. Yeah, turns out you can just run away. So that's, yeah, that's very anticlimactic. But look, I'm not jeopardizing my run to prove I can beat a phallically shaped behemoth. So yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm not apologizing. Let's move on. With Galactic's drama in the rear view, the 8th gym leader Volkner and his electric types loom ahead. It might not seem like it, but this is a tough battle because for some reason, Raichu knows Surf, and the electric type gym leader has a freaking water type on his team. But anyway, let's do this. The plan is simple. Set up with Nasty Plot, get hit with Nuzzle, which paralyzes us, shrug it off because Human Torch is armed with a Cherry Berry, and finally take out Raichu with Flamethrower. Next out is Ambipom, who deals just ridiculous damage with Fake Out. I mean, what a stinky move. A Thunderbolt luckily doesn't do us too much, so we can then finish off Ambipom with a single Flamethrower. Now, Volkner sends out his stupid Octillery. Why is this thing on his team? I don't know, but it's a problem. And my answer is the Thing, who gets hit by one truck of an Octazooka that almost takes us out. My only move here is to just stand my ground and hope a Thunderbolt can finish the job. And luckily, it can. I don't think the crit was necessary, but I will certainly take it. And last out is Volkner's ace, Luxray. I stay in with the Thing and tank a Thunderfang from Luxray, which luckily activates Flame Body and burns him. That is huge. But the price for this is that we flinch, and so I have to switch into Mr. Fantastic. With Luxray burnt, Volkner can barely hurt us, and so 2 turns later, we land the finishing blow, defeating Volkner and claiming our final gym badge. It's been an insane run, but no deaths so far. But that all might change soon, because now we only have the Pokemon League ahead. So I make my way through Victory Road and finally arrive at the League, where our arch nemesis is waiting for us, Fireman Sam. And we're not about to let him put out our flame. Sam leads with Staraptor, and we lead Mr. Fantastic so we can U-turn out of there and brush off the Intimidate. Next out is the Thing, but that's when Staraptor sets up with a sneaky Rain Dance. Luckily, one Thunderbolt from the Thing does the trick. Snorlax lumbers in, but I switch back to Mr. Fantastic, and with a single close combat, down it goes. But then comes Empoleon, Sam's ace, and this is where I almost make a huge mistake. I hadn't realized Empoleon is equipped with a Quick Claw, and just pressed close combat. But Sam actually gets lucky as Quick Claw activates and lets him move first, hitting us with a devastating brine. I thought I'd really messed up, but Mr. Fantastic hangs on thanks to friendship mechanics, allowing us to strike back and take it down. Phew, Roserade is out next, so I decide to use U-turn to switch into Invisible Woman. A Flame Charge is enough to KO, and then comes the showdown of the century. Rapidash versus Rapidash. But there's only room for one Fire Horse in this town, and it's ours by a mile. Last out is Heracross, but after switching into Human Torch, a single Flamethrower is easily enough to take out Heracross and wrap up our rivalry with Sam once and for all. And with that and a little bit more preparation, we were now able to enter the Pokemon League. First up was Aaron, but something messed up my recording of this battle. Great, just great. But to be fair, I think anyone can predict how this one went anyway. Human Torch sets up 2 nasty plots, and from there, it's sweeping time. After one-shotting everything, Aaron's whole team falls, and not even his Drapion can do anything to change that. So that's Elite Four number 1 down. Next, we're up against Elite Four Bertha, and my palms were sweaty, knees weak, arms were heavy. This was the showdown I'd been dreading. Bertha and her competitive squad of ground-type titans were ready to bury my challenge in the dirt. But I had a plan. First up, Human Torch against Bertha's Quagsire. Expecting a toxic strategy, I had a Pecha Berry ready to buy us some time for a nasty plot. But Quagsire threw a curveball with an Earthquake, nearly ending us right off the bat. By the skin of our teeth, we retaliated with Dark Pulse, knocking Quagsire out. Boosted by Nasty Plot, Sudowoodo and Whiscash crumbled before us like dry leaves. But this is where things get tricky. Golem has the Sturdy ability, meaning we cannot one-shot him no matter what. And switching into a different Pokemon would get me in serious trouble too. I did not think this through. My only hope was to hope that friendship mechanics come in clutch and allow us to either dodge the hit or survive with 1 HP. So I pressed Dark Pulse, and I cannot believe my eyes. We get incredibly lucky as Golem flinches, something I even forgot was a possibility. So with that, we are able to take out Golem unscathed. That was absolutely anxiety-inducing, but the battle is not over yet. Finally, Bertha's ace, Hippowdon, stood no chance against our ramped up Dark Pulse. 2 down and Flint was next. A fellow fire enthusiast with a questionable lineup. Human Torch versus Rapidash kicked things off. I start as always by setting up Nasty Plot, but then Rapidash hits us with an unexpected Hypnosis. This could be bad, but once again, Friendship Mechanics wakes us up. I forgot how cheesy that is in this game. On the next turn, a Dark Pulse kills off Rapidash. Flint is cheating though, since he sends out a Lopunny next. I couldn't fill my team up either, but I'm not gonna throw in some phony fire types on my team because of that. To my surprise, a Dark Pulse is not enough to kill, and Lopunny lands a devastating high jump kick. We do survive though, and finish the job with another Dark Pulse. Out next is another non-fire type. What a phony. You know what? Have a taste of your own medicine. Yeah, how does that feel? And once again, Flint sends out his third non-fire type, Drifblim, but a Dark Pulse takes care of him too. That's what you get, Flint. Finally, Flint sends out his ace, Infernape, and I decide to switch things up and send out Mr. Fantastic. Acrobatics doesn't deal too much damage, and we get hit with a strong close combat attack that activates the Citrus Berry we're holding. So on the next turn, Acrobatics is more powerful, and we can finally finish off Flint. The final Elite Four member was Psychic type user Lucian. His Mr. Mime takes the lead, setting up Light Screen. This is no problem, since Invisible Woman has Poison Jab, allowing us to easily deal with the Fairy type. Next out is Medicham, and I decide to pivot into Mr. Fantastic, which could be risky if he hits us with a Psychic move. But Medicham ends up going for High Jump Kick and actually misses. So an Acrobatics on the next turn deals with the Medicham. Next out is Alakazam, who's a scary opponent since it's incredibly fast and very much super effective against Mr. Fantastic. But turns out he's no threat, since he goes for Future Sight, which is useless since we just U-turn out of there, taking down the Alakazam in one hit while we're at it. I send in Invisible Woman as Lucian now sends in his Girafarig, who barely had any time to make an impression before Invisible Woman's Fire Blitz sent it off to Dreamland. And then came Bronzong, thinking it could withstand our fiery onslaught, but another Fire Blitz proved it terribly wrong. Lucian, outplayed and outblazed, left us with just one final obstacle. Now, all that's left is... Most of this battle is actually very easy, since Cynthia leads with Spiritomb, who virtually cannot hurt Human Torch, allowing us to set up and sweep through Cynthia's team. We're also faster than all her Pokemon except one, Garchomp. And this is the huge problem. This monster can outspeed and one-hit KO every single one of my Pokemon the second it enters the battlefield. Facing a Pokemon that could end our run with a single move, we resorted to strategy's oldest friend, Cheese. I set up the substitute, swept through her Spiritomb, Gastrodon, Lucario, and even her beefy Milotic and Roserade. And then it was just Garchomp left. Heart pounding, we watched as Garchomp shattered our substitute with an Earthquake. It all came down to this, a Dark Pulse that needed to hit harder than anything before. We connect with a Dark Pulse, and victory! Garchomp fell, and with it, Cynthia's reign. The ultimate fire quartet stood triumphant, having conquered Sinnoh against all odds. Thanks for watching. For more flaming hot Pokemon content, click on this video next and hit subscribe because you do not want to miss my next video. Also, let me know in the comments what video you want to see, and if you liked the video, click like. It helps me more than you know.